Welcome to the Recession Proof here at Globe Life, American Income Life Division, Vacca organization, and here with a special guest. Thanks for taking time out of your day. This gentleman right here is a busy man. He is a regional director with our organization, and he's hit pretty much every single level with the company and dominated every single level too. So top producer, top performer, and our RGA here with the organization, Mr. Gio Vacca.
Yes, thank you for having me. To be honest with you, the pleasure is all mine. And I got to say, first and foremost, this podcast room is looking amazing. I feel like we're broadcasting right now, right? To the world. It looks awesome. It really does.
Feels like we're in like outer space or something, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. It looks good, man. I'm ready to rock, ready to roll.
Awesome.
Appreciate you having me.
Did you get your drink by any chance?
Yeah. It's right down here.
Oh, you put it over there? We got to get you a little spot. But yeah, we sent the DoorDash guy to pick us up some matcha tea lattes. I asked, Gio, I said, what's your drink of choice right now? And he had these green drinks that are like really healthy green drinks from the meal prep company that he uses. And those they got like kale and cucumbers and apple and all that stuff. You've given me those before.
Wheatgrass, right?
Yeah. Every time I catch him, he's drinking something green.
That's right. We're all going green.
We're going green. So, today we went with the, what is this, a matcha tea, iced matcha tea latte.
Yep, got to get the coconut milk.
From Starbucks.
Yep.
We want the coconut milk on this one. Sometimes you go with the oat milk.
Yeah, typically I'll go with oat milk. Unless I'm hanging around you, then I get the coconut.
Then you go with the coconut. Right, nice. So these are been my go-to for a while. So like sometimes I try a drink and I never had it before, but I've had these many times. So you can't go wrong with these for sure.
Gets you fired up, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today we're gonna go over some just some questions about how you got into the business a little bit, right? Because usually everybody asks that question. How did you get into the business? Where was your start? So how did you get into the business? What did you like most about the opportunity? And how do you think it has changed your life?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's funny. I was a full-time student. I was serving tables. Because where I came from, I was the first person to go to college, and if I was going to college, it was going to be up to me.
Where were you in college?
University of Pittsburgh.
Okay, right, Pitt Panthers.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
Yeah. So, going to the University of Pittsburgh was going for dietetics and nutrition, right? And the reason why I wanted to, really get myself into that is I was really into health, really into helping people. One thing was missing, though. I felt like I was going to be capped on my income, right? So as I'm kind of grinding my gears, in school and, working as a server for my way toward college, I was approached about the opportunity, and it fulfilled my need and want to never be capped on my income. I wanted to help a lot of people, but I didn't just want to be capped on my income potential. So when I was approached about the opportunity, I was a little iffy, to be honest with you, especially if I spent that much time in college.
Yeah.
And after the overview, I was just hooked, talking about the income potential. I'm not all about the money, but I do feel like if I work harder than the person next to me, I should earn more, right?
Yeah.
So I was excited and enthusiastic knowing about what the income potentials were and knowing that at the end of the day, I was still going to be able to help people. So the way I got started was I was just a server working my way through college, and I found this opportunity. Someone approached me and talked to me about it, and I was hooked from there. That's kind of how I got started.
So so as far as college goes, did you graduate?
What's funny is I only had like 4 credits left, to be honest.
Okay.
And when I got with the opportunity, I started to do really well. And I was able to earn in 6 months, would have earned in 2 years of working as a dietitian.
Wow.
So I actually stopped.
You put it on hold.
Yeah, I put it on hold.
4 credits shy.
Yep, and I told myself, I'm like, you know what? I'll go back. I'll go back. And I just never looked back.
Wow.
Gave us all I got.
Wow, that's incredible right there. That really is. You come all that way, and then it's all focused. And not only did you put the time in to but then it was all focused towards this one degree of dietitian, and then not only you had to change careers too, change career paths, change ideas on that. Right out of college, this is pretty much your first career, you know. Did you even have a resume? Did you bring a resume to your interview?
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried to type something up. It wasn't the best. I know my credentials were very minimal. Right? And I just remember after the interview process, you know, just ripping up that resume, and it was my first official career path.
Wow.
And career job. So first and last.
Talk about never need a resume again.
That's right.
Whatever you put on that resume, you could just crumple that thing up, throw it in the garbage. You never need a resume again. And that's awesome. Imagine being in college and having to make a resume. I remember that. That was stressful. I mean, it's stressful. And then you got to like pick out what font you're going to use and what type of paper and right and you're carrying it around in your little binder, and you're trying to show up and get interviewed and see who's going to hire you, and like that's stressful stuff, you know.
Absolutely.
So being right from college, finding a career, like a home for the rest of your life, I mean, talk about priceless. You know, sure, everything we do is just absolutely amazing here, and we take advantage of it, but just that alone is just never having to have a resume right out of college, you know, your first job, you know, that's pretty awesome stuff, man. I didn't realize you were 4 credits away, though. I didn't realize that. That's amazing.
Yeah. You know, and it's funny because, you know, during the time that I was working here, you know, I was kind of getting stuff from my girlfriend at the time, my girlfriend's mom at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And the only 2 people that kind of like supported my decision, surprisingly, were my parents.
Yes.
Right? You would think the parents were going to be like, oh, you know, hey, just go ahead and pursue college and, you know, kind of get that last graduate, get it done. I was the first one to go to college in my whole entire family. So you'd think that they would push it on me, but they were just happy and excited that I found something that was going to later on, you know, fast forward, you know, retire my mom, you know, buy my dad a, you know, brand new car, you know, things like that for Christmas, you know, having that financial freedom to be able to do that and give back to the people that really had your back in the end, right?
Right.
So it was
that's
huge.
incredible. Yeah. So, you know, Gio, I mean, people probably don't know, but, you know, that was like, they're like, oh, I wonder, you know, why was he so dead set on, you know, retiring his mom? And now that's one of the biggest reasons why is because they were the only people that had your back. And this past year was super incredible. You know, Christmas time, you were able to go back to Pittsburgh, meet up with your family, and take them all shopping at the mall. You told me, you know, so the kids, his sisters, and they all got to go on a little shopping spree, right? Your nephews and all that. And then at the end of the shopping spree, they went on, and you got your dad to pick out his pretty much his dream car. It was the Mercedes-Benz AMG with the red seats inside.
That's right. My dad loves red, man. That was the one.
You were going to get him a red car, but you went with the red seats.
Red interior.
Right?
Yep, exactly. And, you know, I've been blessed to, you know, earn and make a lot of accomplishments with the company and top performer, top MGA, things like that. And to be honest with you, that feeling and seeing my dad, his face, the look on his face,
oh man,
there was no better feeling than that. No accomplishment has ever.
Did he believe? He probably wasn't even believe. Did he believe it?
No, I tried to trick him too because we went to the dealership and they had like a, no offense to anybody has a Volvo or anything like that, but it was like a maroon station wagon Volvo.
A station wagon.
And and you know, my parents, if anybody knows anything about my parents, they're very appreciative.
Yeah.
So my dad was over there, you know, by the Volvo, like touching it, feeling it, like pretending like he likes it, you know, and then to at the end have the sales individual, you know, drive around and pull up in that actual car he was getting was just the best feeling. It gives me chills just thinking about it, and that was one of my big time, long time goals. And I know you did that, I believe, for your mom. You know, I think you bought your mom Alexis and your girlfriend Alexis and now your wife, you know, Jess, and that really inspired me as well to be able to do something like that and give back to those people that really had our back, like we talked about.
Yeah, man. Amen. That's awesome. That's awesome. So, you know, we could go back, like talk about just, you know, the accomplishments, you know, of since you've been here, because I mean, I saw when the first time you came into the business, you know, and you worked super hard. Were, I mean, incredibly dedicated to serving the clients. I mean, in fact, nobody served more clients than you, you know. And then not only at the end of the year were you the top producer in the agency. Was it your second year?
Second official year. Yeah.
Second full year with the company, second official year. You know, he poured into himself all this, and did it with the quality of business as well. You know, your quality was there.
Yeah.
And then from there, you decided that now that you know how to accomplish it at such a high level, you know, now I want to pour into others, right?
Yeah.
So you got into a supervisor position, and then a manager position, and then a general manager position, and we had an opportunity to, you know, move from Pittsburgh and bet on ourselves, and came out to Chicago, and quickly grew to, you know, top MGA, right? And this past year, you actually won your category as the top MGA, and you'll be on stage, you know, at the convention this year, which is incredible because that's the culmination of all the hard work that you really put in. But along the way, there's a lot of stars and a lot of medals that you got on your chest, a lot of feathers in your hat per se. And you were the top producer anytime you wanted to, President's Club Award winner, you know, Founders Club. If you go into your office, you know, there's not a plaque that you haven't really won. What's incredible is last year, you were able to personally produce more business last year as a RGA and an MGA, and then when you were the #1 producer in your second year in the business. So, you know, second year, you're #1 producer and all you focus on is producing. Last year, you were more productive and served more families, and never even left the comfort of your home or your office wherever you were operating out of, due to being virtual. You know,
absolute blessing.
What do you think that you know, maybe just talk about virtual for a minute, man? How do you think that's really changed the game?
You know, one of my biggest fears when we were going virtual was losing that personal touch with not only the client, with the team. And it's so crazy because virtual has almost made it easier to be more connected with your client, more connected with your people, because now you have to be intentional with it, right? So you're always intentional in making sure that your team's together, making sure everybody's calling together, making sure that, you know, you're definitely going out of your way to build a bigger relationship with the client, because, you know, you're virtual, you're not in person. You know, when we were in person, we would grab a picture off the wall, or we would walk around and see the cars in the back. And now we just see this little box, right? So we have to be intentional about building that actual relationship with the client. So I love the fact that you're able to write and do and perform your job, and you don't even have to leave. Right? You can be anywhere, any place, anytime. As long as you have a little bit of Wi-Fi, you're able to perform your job. You know, they talked to all the top performers and producers in the company, and they said that they're able to get more done and have more family time, and have more vacation time, right? So it's kind of like a win-win-win there. And we also don't have to pay for gas anymore. I remember spending $300, $400, $500 on gas just to get to these individuals.
A week or a month?
A week. On a weekly basis, $300, $400, $500, sometimes $600, $700.
Wow.
You know, in gas. So the transition, you know, although, you know, when it's something new, you know, is a little bit uncomfortable, we have to adjust, adapt. We were able to adapt so freaking well that virtual is a blessing. It's been nothing but better, and we've always grown from it as well. So I love the virtual game.
I always ask everybody, you know, where'd you come from? I don't know if you ever heard that one, but like, you know, where'd you come from? Somebody asked me that one time, and I told them, I'm from Pittsburgh, and they're like, no, like, where did your family come from? You know, and he was French Canadian. He was telling me about, you know, where his family came from real quick, and how his mom met his dad, and she was like living in France, and he was, you know, from this part of the world, right? So I already know, you know, but I'd like you to share a little bit, you know, about your background, and I love it because, you know, everybody came to this country somehow, right? So, you know, like, where did your parents come from, I guess? Where did your great-grandparents, you know, how did you guys get to this country?
No, it's funny you asked that because, you know, obviously, you know, parents born in Italy. My dad, at a very young age, you know, he lost his brothers and sisters to war and stuff like that. So their goal growing up was to kind of get out of the country and kind of get in to America, right? And my dad, at this point, 20-some years old, he meets my mom, falls in love with my mom, and goes to America, comes to America, finds work, finds a place, goes back to Italy, right? Marries my mom and takes her back to the States, back to America.
Wow.
And fast forward a little later, they have 7 kids, one of which was me. I'm the baby of 7. There was 5 sisters, 5 nieces we ended up having. So I was outnumbered.
Wow.
Imagine that, growing up with
5 sisters and 5 nieces.
5 sisters, 5 nieces. Thank the Lord I had a brother. He saved my life because we were outnumbered. But imagine that growing up, one shower head and, everybody getting ready in the mornings. That was craziness. But, growing up in that immigrant mentality, that background, one thing, my dad, he was always working. He's always working. And he would take me to work a lot of times. And, one thing that I learned, they say leadership isn't always taught, it's
What does
taught.
your dad do?
My dad was actually a maintenance guy. He worked as a maintenance guy. He was a carpenter for a little bit. And he worked as a maintenance guy. All he knew and all he did was work, right? Even when he came home, he'd be working. He'd be mowing the lawn. He'd be cementing, the ground. He'd be, just taking out the garbage, doing this, doing that. He's always working. I remember asking him one time, I said, Dad, what do you do for fun? And he's like, work, right? It's like what he did for fun. And I remember myself at 9, 10 years old, just sitting on my porch one time, and thinking, like, I see people walking past, and there was a peach tree we had right up front. We had a couple in the back.
You had a peach tree?
I had a peach tree, yeah.
We had 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Peach trees.
Awesome. Yeah.
So you know about stepping in one of those.
Yeah.
Did you ever
You
step
do
on
mush
one?
everywhere. Yeah.
Especially like a rotten one you step on.
Exact stinks so bad. But the ones that they're the best. And people would walk past, and they'd be like, hey, man, can I get a peach? I'm like, sure, And respectfully, they would ask. And I thought to myself at 9, 10 years old, I'm like, these people really want this. And I thought of like my dad and him always working, and everything that we ever had in life we had to work for. And I remember, not even ask for permission for this, but I grabbed a ladder and 2 big buckets, right? And I grabbed the ladder, I went to the tree, and I started grabbing all the peaches, and I put them in these baskets. And went on the bottom of our driveway on the corner there, and I started to sell those peaches, right? And I thought to myself, like I said, leadership isn't always taught, it's caught. I caught that from my dad, like always working and always trying to find ways to earn extra income to set myself up. If I was going to get and earn income, it was going to be based upon my work ethic, right? And later on, starting my own lawn business at 12 years old, going door to door, literally just knocking on people's doors. Hey, can I cut your grass?
Yeah.
And I think someone would just say yes because they felt bad for me.
Yeah.
But just realizing that growing up in that background and growing up with that work ethic, it taught and instilled those habits later on in life, So it really taught me how to just really put my head down, work for what I want, and realize that nothing's going to be given, everything's going to be earned in life. So, fast forward, like I said, playing sports, growing up in working out, stuff like that. That's what got me to the dietetics and nutrition, and then got me to end up working here.
So the question of the day is, what was the going rate on a peach?
I was gonna mention, it'd be like a dozen for $3 or like one for 25 cents. Yeah,
no way.
Exactly.
That's a steal of a deal.
I know.
12 peaches for $3.
Yeah, back in the day, I guess that was a steal. Yeah, I think that's what it was, about 25 cents a peach or something like that. And I would say for a dozen, a couple bucks, right? But they were the best peaches, and I was from Dormont. You know where Dormont is, right?
Yeah, there's no peach trees in Dormont.
Yeah, that's what you would think, right? No peach trees. I grew up next to a gas station across the street from a bar and right next to the trolley stop.
Oh, that's probably why they were big peaches, right?
Yeah, they grew from all the gas they were putting. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, it was always noisy, always, rambunctious growing up. But, we found ways to make it happen and work hard. And that's kind of where I came from with that work ethic.
Nice. So do you mind if we do a segment brought to us in part by Residual Income for Life?
Yeah, I don't mind at all. That sounds great.
Okay.
Sounds like a good time.
This segment is going to be called Mythbusters.
Okay.
Insurance Mythbusters.
Okay. Interesting.
All right. So I'm going to ask you a myth, and you got to say if it's a truth or a myth. So
Okay.
it might not be a myth. It might be a truth.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
But if
Yeah.
it's true, you got to explain why it's true. And if it's a myth, you got to explain why it's a myth.
Why I believe it's a myth, why
Yes.
it's true. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So let's get down to the first one will be is young and single people do not need life insurance.
That's definitely a myth.
Definitely a myth.
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
definitely a myth. Young and single people, in my mind, we offer protection for individuals, but we also ask, when is the best time to be able to be covered? Typically, it's going to be when you're at your youngest, which is when you're at your healthiest, which is when it's going to be at its cheapest. One of the biggest concerns that we see in our industry is people waiting until now they've acquired a lot of health concerns and now they can't qualify, right? Or even worse, we finally get to them, now they're married, they have kids, and now they have even more liability. And now they just left that, behind on their family. So you want to catch those young and single people while they're at their youngest, healthiest, while it's at its cheapest. That way they keep it for when they do have a family, when they do have a mortgage, right? So I would say that would be the most important time to have the insurance.
Okay.
That way they can lock it in with their.
So not only do young people, they it says that they don't need it. You're going to say they do need it. In fact, that's the best time to get it.
Yep, the best and most important time, absolutely 100%.
Yeah, especially if they plan on having a family when they get older. You don't want to wait until you have a family.
That's right.
And then it might be too late.
Exactly.
Huge. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Next myth. Life insurance through an employer is enough coverage.
Yeah, I love how you said the next myth. You already called it.
Yeah.
So insurance through the employer is never going to be enough, because a lot of people, the listeners, might not even know this. I didn't know this before I started working here, but as soon as they quit, get fired, retire, they get laid off, they're sick for a while and they can't work. What happens a lot of times, they lose their employer's benefits, right? They're not in control of it. So the most important thing is to have benefits outside of work that is going to be permanent and portable, that will ride with them forever. That way they are completely covered. We don't want to have like a permanent plan or a plan that is not permanent for something that is inevitable and going to happen for our family.
Yeah.
Right?
So you're saying we don't want to have a temporary solution for a permanent problem.
That's it right there. Yeah, you got it.
That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. We
100%.
got to make sure we're putting that into training. Does everybody know about that line?
Yeah.
That's a good one-liner.
Yeah, that's right. We should all saying that.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. That's a good myth there. And how about this last one? Life insurance is too expensive.
Yeah.
Is that a truth?
Well, I would say that's another myth, 3 myths in a row, right? Because here's the thing, you have to figure out the cost versus the price. What's the price of having some insurance? Yeah, it might be like one less time of going out to eat for the week, right? You might have to go through some time, to go through the application, things of that sort. But think about, that's the price, right? Think about the cost of not doing it. Right, we may think it's expensive to come up with $25 a week, as a family, as a team, but it's going to be a lot more expensive later on in life for when, let's say, a husband dies and leaves like a mortgage behind, right? Wow, we thought it was just too expensive to come up with $25 a week. Imagine coming up with $80,000 or $100,000 all by that person's self.
Yeah.
With the kid, with the kids, with the family, right? So to be honest with you, I think that it is too expensive to wait, right? So we have to deal with either the cost of doing something or the cost of doing nothing. And the cost of doing nothing far exceeds the cost of doing something. Right?
Yes, huge. So there's the cost right there. Huge, great way to break that down. So that, we'll check that off as a myth.
That's a myth for sure.
So, talking about you got your dad a car, which was great, and we used this opportunity as a vehicle, to get our goals and dreams, accomplished. And I know you always wanted to have, I think it was when we went to Las Vegas, it was great. You know, because you get to rent those supercars out
Yeah,
there.
always. Yeah.
You know, so I remember you rented the Lamborghini out there.
Yeah.
And, you know, the first time you had an opportunity, you picked up that Jaguar. What was that Jaguar called?
Yeah, the F-Type R Dynamic. Yep.
F-Type R Dynamic. And then you kind of upgraded that to recently you got the new Range Rover, which thing is really, really nice, white one.
Yep.
And then you picked up, you also have the McLaren.
Yep.
Which is it's white one, two white ones, right? White's the color. What's the McLaren called? What do they call that?
600 LT McLaren.
600 LT. Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta get hip to my McLaren, you know, types, right? So, you know, what would be some of your, you know, like dream cars, or you know, are you driving them, or is there other ones you want?
Yeah. So I always, and it's been on my vision board for years and years and years, was always a McLaren. Right, it was always a McLaren. Just such a unique vehicle. You don't see them on the road a whole lot.
Yeah.
That's what I love about them, and just the look of them, super unique. You know, and I love the one I got. You know, it has the exhaust up top, so flames, you know, are kind of popping out of those.
That's
so
sweet.
it's just an insane type of vehicle. So I would say it's one of my dream vehicles. Later on in life, maybe, you know, having a Lamborghini. You know, it's always on the list.
Yeah.
Maybe a different type of McLaren. You know, Bugatti, you know, it'd be great. You know, those are the
Something
three
you don't
top.
see those, yeah.
Yeah, just you know, I was actually contemplating on getting a Lamborghini versus the McLaren, and I thought to myself, you know what, what's going to stick out a little bit more? And I'm Italian, so I'm biased. I'm like, man, Lamborghini. But you know, I had to go with the McLaren. That was just my vote. But someday soon I'll have both. That way I can just kind of pick and choose.
Nice.
Yeah. So those are my top three, though: Bugatti, Lamborghini, McLaren.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I noticed how you said the dream board, though.
Yes.
And I don't know if everybody caught that, but that's the big thing is, number one, having a dream board. Most
right.
people don't even have a dream board, you know, but it's funny how you actually put that on there you said for years and years and years that's been on there.
Exactly.
And then it finally becomes a reality. It's crazy how that stuff works.
Yeah.
You know? So might have to upgrade your dream board, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Put a couple more on there, right?
Yeah, keep adding to it for sure. Just like you always say, Tommy, everything was created twice, once in your head and then in reality. So I got that from you.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. So, you know, as far as the business goes, you know, you're going to see the final product is, you know, last year was our you know, second full year out here, and you know, you've absolutely crushed it last year. I mean, you made it probably over $550,000 last year, you know, and this will be our third year out here. So they see the final product, right? And everybody sees that. But, you know, what really goes into it, not many people really see. You know, you get praised in public for kind of what you do in private.
That's right.
And, you know, I personally have seen from day one your work ethic. Like, you were first one there, last one to leave, like Philo, like they talk about. Philo, it means first in, last out. That's what pretty much the philosophy you've been subscribed to when you were brand new, working on your craft until even to this day, now pouring into other people and helping them, you know, do that. And the goal was, you know, to help them do bigger than what you did in your second year.
Right.
You know, if you did 186,000 your second year, we want people to crush that. And we've had some people so far come through and do that and do some phenomenal things like that. So that's absolutely incredible. But what I want to get at, though, is just talk about that. Number one, where did you get, you know, I think you talked about a little bit where you got your work ethic from, obviously, and but where do you get your drive from? Because you're always on the go. Like I say G-O, right? Everybody says G-O, it's like G-I-O. Well, G-O is really just, if you think about it, if I said spell G-O, you would just, you could literally just spell G-O, go, like go, right? You're always on the go.
Yep.
And someone that's always on the go has to have some drive behind them. You know what I mean? You're always, so what do you think, where do you get your drive from? You know, what's your, you know, what's your motivation, I guess, right? Where do you get that from? Because not everybody just has that, right? It has to come from somewhere.
Yeah,
You know?
100%. Yeah, honestly, you know, I think growing up, you know, with the type of background I grew up in, you know, definitely, you know, the work ethic my dad provided for me, seeing that on a daily basis, definitely it was like a norm to work your butt off. But to elaborate a little bit deeper, you know, my parents didn't have much. My mom, imagine this, picturing your mom. This is what she did for a living. She basically cleaned, and took care of, elderly people. And, picturing your mom, cleaning toilets and, taking after, elderly individuals and kind of doing the things that you just don't want to see your mom do. And she'd always have a smile on her face and, always went to work happy. And, but that was just a goal of mine to always just be, that person. If it was up to me, if my mom was ever going to retire, it was going to be because of me, And I've always been the person as well, like I'm okay with working hard now and reaping the reward later. It's so in season every day.
Yes.
Every day. Because at the end of the day, I remember my friends, growing up, they would always go out, and there's nothing wrong with that, but my mindset wasn't on that. And I believe to be great in something, you almost have to be kind of gone to it, right? You have to be just like a master of your craft. You have to be obsessed with it. And I know that me being obsessed and me putting in the grind now, it's going to create that financial freedom for the future, so that when, let's just say my mom, God forbid, does get sick in the future, I can put her in a position where, I'm able to put her with the best doctors, make sure that procedure works out well, or just, at will go buy my dad a car like I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. So I think just realizing you have to live in the now, but realize that there's a vision for the future. And the reason why I work so hard now and the reason why it helps me is because I have that vision for the future. I have the vision, like we always talk about doubling our sales goals. But at the end of the day, the reason why you want to double the sales goals is to help. That's double the amount of people you're going to be able to help and impact. I was able to retire my mom, do these things for my parents, my family. I want the people that I'm working with to do the same thing and achieve their goals and their visions.
Yeah.
Right? So I think just having the vision at the end, right, and knowing that the vision is right there every time you're in the clouds going through adversity, not staying in the adversity. I know people that kind of stay in the adversity a little bit too long.
Yeah.
And we got to have a quick turnaround. I remember being in the field and totaling my car and hurting my shoulder, and that day running a car and, going to an appointment and enrolling that family that day, a quick turnaround. Some people just live in the adversity so freaking long that they never get out of hell.
Yeah.
It's you got to go to hell in order to get to heaven, but some people stay in hell because they're staying in the adversity and thinking about the adversity too long. So I think just having a clear-cut vision for your life, and what motivates me is not only having myself, take care of my family and the people that have my back, allowing other people to get their vision and their goal and having them hit their potentials, watching them transform to the best versions of themselves. That's the coolest part for me. That's what drives me.
It's like a quarterback throws an interception in a game,
Yeah.
right? They got to suck that up because they're, if you throw an interception, what happens, right? Well,
Yeah.
the other team gets the ball, and if you throw a pick six, they run the ball back. You got your head down. You're literally they're kicking right off to you, and you're back on the field within 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So you don't got time to even do that, and you're in the middle of a game. You're out in the field.
Yeah.
You're in a car wreck.
Yeah.
You're in a rental in 3 hours, and back there serving clients.
That's right. Yeah.
So
Quick.
you can go there. Of course, I'd be upset about it but you can't stay there. Is what what they say. So you've got that. I see an underlying theme of what you're saying is. From the beginning, you've approached this as a business owner mentality. You took ownership of it, and like you said, being obsessed, kind of like a Kobe Bryant, mentality, or a business owner like a Jeff Bezos at the beginning when they started their business, that type of mentality. But long-term vision was definitely a big part of keeping your head in the game there.
Yeah.
And long term in this business is building your residual income. The more clients you serve, and the better that you serve them, the more of a residual income you're going to be able to achieve for yourself.
That's
And we talk about being recession proof, right? And there's going to be ups and downs in the economy, right? Recently, there was quote unquote a recession, a pandemic,
That's right.
And I saw people, that got hit financially with it. They got affected by the recession. But I also saw people that really didn't get affected by the recession much. They were almost sort of quote unquote recession proof. And a lot of those people I noticed, because I just work closely with them in the industry, are in with our company, and they're all earning residual income.
Yep.
You know, from the work that they've done in the past. So whether a recession came or whether it doesn't matter, they're still getting that residual income, so their bills are paid every month, right? And I think, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do to position yourself to be recession proof, you know, mentally, physically, spiritually, but also one thing financially as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, the way we're doing that on a daily basis is through serving others and building our residual income.
Yeah.
Right. Yesterday was residual income day, I think, or
Yes.
it was recently, right? So happy residual income day, by the way.
Happy residual for you too.
You know, I didn't get a chance to tell you that, right?
Yeah.
You know, but what was your residual income?
They range anywhere between 6,000 to 9,000.
Okay,
What they range.
6,000 to 9,000
Yeah.
per month right now.
Yep.
Not bad. Almost $100,000 a year. Pretty much before you wake up.
Yep.
Going back to that, you know, you served a lot of families in your day. You know, what do you think the key is to, you know, providing, you know, great service to, you know, and maybe there might be one or two clients that even stand out to you that you were really able to serve them. Like, do you have any clients that like really needed your service? And like, maybe you were like, man, I almost didn't like, you know, show up today. I wasn't feeling good. Or, you know, I almost missed this appointment. And I'm so glad that I did the extra to make it here because they needed me more than I needed to be here, right? Can anything stick out to you like that?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I do believe the better you serve individuals, the better you, in the end, will get helped. I mean, that's not the main goal why you're doing it, but the universe does a great job of kind of giving back. You know, when you give, the universe will give back, you know, tenfold, you know, and it has interest, and that interest is expensive, you know, it gives you back like tenfold. So I think one story that sticks out, you know, and just shows like your belief level, because to the level that you're sold will be the level you're able to sell. I cannot sell what I'm not really believing, right? And I remember going to this one client, and me and them, we were going back and forth at the end. Not in a bad way, but I just truly believe that the service was detrimental if they didn't have it or not. You know, they had a high-risk position. It could have been, you know, tomorrow we all have a date of birth. We don't have a date of death. We don't really know. It could have been any time. And they just really, really needed it in their situation. Basically, if they didn't have it and something happened, it would just be a bad situation. And I remember going back and forth for 20, 30 minutes with them. You know, it was a battle, right? And I remember walking out to their driveway and just sitting in my car, like just beating myself up. And I remember calling one of, his name was Marty. I don't know if you remember Marty, but he called for me at the time. And I said, man, it said a little bit more of you know, profanity with the bad words. I said I effed up, basically.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, what do you mean, man? I was like, dude, I messed up, man. They really needed it. He's like, dude, what happened? And I was like, I'll call you right back. Right? He's like, no, what are you talking about? And I just hung up. And I remember getting out of the car, and, you know, it took a lot of level of, like, you know, belief to do this, but I walked up to their door and knocked back on their door. And they opened up the door like, I just saw you, you know, for an hour and a half, you know, at my kitchen table, right? And I was like, you know, to me again, basically like, hey, can you just give me another minute? And I remember just going in there, and you know what they said? I said, listen, I don't know if you can tell how bad this bothers me, but, you know, it doesn't make a difference to me. It does because I care, but this is going to make such a big difference to you and your family, right? And I just remember going back and forth again for a little bit. And they told me, they said, man, I can tell from your face, you know, that this really bothered you. And they ended up doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Ended up doing it. And it's just like, I'm sure that day, maybe I didn't feel like waking up. I'm sure that day I definitely was very uncomfortable going back in a situation that was already very uncomfortable for me to begin with.
Yeah.
You know, but once again, the level you're sold, you're able to sell. I just was I believed in my product, and I believed that they needed it, you know, more than they probably that they needed
crazy.
it, right? So I went back
Not
in there.
many people would do that.
Right. You know, that story I've told many, many times to my team, and it just shows that, you know, no matter what, never give up. Always go one more call, one more door knock, one more rep on the bench, you know, because you never know what that one more rep is going to do. and make all the difference in
So
their
you
lives.
asked them for the business,
Yep.
and they told you no, and then you asked for the business probably multiple times,
Yes.
and then it was that one
Yes.
more ask that got it. You
Yep.
know, you were in the car, and you was like, one more, and you went back,
Yeah.
and it was that one extra ask. You know, so that just goes to show you're not going to get what you don't ask for.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and just one last thing I think is just important to talk about is just having a business owner mentality is not something that just you're born with, or not something that everybody has. Maybe some people have. I don't know where it comes from. You can be taught at some level, I think. You know, and if somebody was going to start a business right now, right, whether it was a business starting in the insurance industry with us, or maybe they're going to start their own business, whatever it may be. I don't know what their business could be right now, an online business, or they're going to start doing this, or construction, whatever they're going to do. You know, what would you say would be like the key thing? Like listen, if you're going to start a business, like if you don't do this, you're going to fail. Right. Like, what would you say would be a key pointer to someone starting their own business?
Yeah, that's a great question. Honestly, I'd say one of the top things, there's so many things I can mention, but one of the top things I would say is just detrimental mindset, is having like an immediate gratification type of mindset. As we know in business, right, your investments, you might be working and putting in all this time and effort to get very little in return in the beginning, right? So you're putting in all this time, all this effort. And a lot of people, and especially society nowadays, we live in this like microwave mentality where we think, everything can just be on the spot real quick. Even if we're on the internet and we see the little thing load and we're like, why is this taking forever? Right. Right. So, in the end, having more of a delayed gratification and realizing that your efforts, although you might not be getting an immediate result, you're going to get a result on the effort that you're putting in, right? So just realizing that it's not going to happen in a day. It happens daily, every single day you're putting in your craft. And then the other thing I'd say is, find a business. They say that I think 80%, 82% of businesses fail because they're looking to basically get in it to make money for themselves. But the 18, 20% that succeed are those businesses that provide a solution to a problem. So I would encourage, if you're looking to, get into a business, or you're looking to build your own business, find something that provides a solution and brings a lot of value. In our business, we provide insurance to members, and we provide a solution to their problem. So you almost have to be like the walking solution, looking for a problem, not creating a problem, but just revealing a problem that already exists.
Yes.
Right? So in business, you have to go in business to provide a solution for the problem that you're looking out for.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not everybody needs shoes. Not everybody needs those nice shoes. Not everybody needs the watches. You could sell shoes, watches, clothes.
That's right.
You could sell certain things. And one thing that I think you could almost say is everybody pretty much needs life insurance. There's two guarantees in life, right?
That's right.
There's death, and
That's right.
then there's taxes. And
Yep.
we always tell people that I know a couple people who actually got around paying taxes
That's
before,
right, yeah.
but never met anybody who got around dying.
No.
So everybody needs life insurance at some level.
That's right.
And it's nice to be able to have like a product that's almost like ubiquitous that we can apply anywhere we go. I mean, but if you're at the bar or the restaurant or on vacation, sitting with someone at the airport, right, and you're talking to them, and let's just say that you sell aluminum siding, they might not be a candidate for that, right? So we have something you pretty much can talk to anyone, anywhere about, and it's relevant.
That's right.
It's pretty nifty there, and you become a professional, a doctor per se. Talk about going to school. You left school, right, and then you kind of like said, I'm done with this university, and I'm going to go to the AIL University.
That's right.
American Income Life Globe Life University. And do 4 years here, right? You graduated, and then you do another 2 years, and you get your master's degree.
That's right.
and then you do another 2 years, you get your doctor's degree, you know,
Yeah.
and that's kind of where you're at right now. And I mean, talk about laying a foundation.
That's right.
I mean, that's all it is right now. It's just an amazing foundation you've absolutely laid to for others to be able to step into and step onto and kind of build and pivot and build their pillars on top of, you know, almost. So,
Yeah.
but, you know, appreciate you taking some time on a busy day, busy week. It's a big week for us here.
It's a huge week, yeah.
I don't want to pull you away too much, you know, from the day. But I'm glad you got to hop in here and spend some time with
Yeah.
us here and,
Absolutely.
you know,
It's been a
share
pleasure.
some insight. Hopefully people gain some good knowledge from this and continue to work on, you know, gaining and becoming more recession-proof themselves.
That's right.
You know, and armor and putting their armor on. So, but that'll wrap up for today, man. I'm
Awesome.
going to let you get rolling. You know,
Sounds
we
good.
could finish up our modules here. And, you
That's
know.
right. We're going to be amped up. Well, thank you for your time, and hopefully this brought a lot of value to the listeners, and I'm excited for the next one.
Awesome, man.
All right, sounds
Thanks,
good.
dude.
Awesome.